Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling history on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is April 14th, and we are going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1956, Larry Winters. 1959, is he really a Funk? Jimmy Jack Funk. 1967, you slap nuts, it's Jeff Jarrett. 1972, Julio De Niro. 1975, Lita. And last but not least, 1988, Marina Shafir. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for April 14th. 2010, Gene Kiniski. Alright, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for April 14th. Fast forwarding all the way to 1959, Ben and Mike Sharp defeat Chief Big Heart and Little Eagle to win the NWA Texas Tag Team titles. We're just going to skip over the 60s and jump into the 70s today. 1971, Terry Funk defeats the grappler Johnny Walker for the Florida NWA Southern Heavyweight title in Miami, Florida. 1973, after 20 years in operation, the Japan Pro Wrestling Alliance closes. The JWA's top stars, Giant Baba and Antonio Inoki, had left and formed their own promotions. Baba founded All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Inoki founded New Japan Pro Wrestling. 1975, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation held an event at Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York, which was televised on HBO. In the main event, World Heavyweight Champion Bruno Sammartino defeats Spiros Aaron in a Greek death match, submission only, with a half crab to retain the title. 1976, Angelo Mosca defeats Tim Woods in the finals of a 2-month-long tournament to win the NWA Mid-Atlantic television title. Grabbing our boomboxes and going to the 80s, 1985, Ray Steele defeats Tony St. Clair for the British heavyweight title, ending St. Clair's second reign. Staying in 85 but going to Mexico, Lola Gonzalez wins her third UWA World Women's title from Jaguar Yokota. 1989, Jerry Lawler defeats Kerry Von Erich to win the WCWA World Heavyweight title, a rematch from their match on April 5th. Lawler unified the WCWA title with his AWA title to become the Unified World Heavyweight Champion, a title which would become the top title in the USWA. Grabbing our flannels and going to the decade of grunge, 1993, WCW held their first ever event in New York City, New York at the Paramount Theater. In the main event, Sting defeated WCW World Heavyweight Champion Big Van Vader by disqualification. Vader retained the title. 1994, Villano 4 and Villano 5 defeat Emilio Charles Jr. and Scorpio Jr. for the UWA World Tag Team titles. Those were your short but sweet pro wrestling history highlights for April 14th. I'm the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.